Hey guys, um, really sorry about today. So we had, as you guys know, we had scheduled a special guest with us, Brent Johnson, and we had a number of things we wanted to chat about with him. The reason why we've been late getting our show off today is we were trying to get him on the horn. Unfortunately, Brent is not available to make the show today. So we are not going to be doing a full show because really what we had is we wanted to give the floor to him. Erica had a number of questions for him. There are a couple of things that we can chat about though, and we will. I think for the time being, especially for those of you who were here. Kevin Ferentz. I apologize. He was so excited. He posted in the chat here. Uh, he's like, man, this is only the second time catching a live show. I am so sorry. I apologize. We weren't able to get our guest on with us today. And Brent is a wealth of knowledge, if you guys know. Erica can speak to that. But again, so sorry, you guys. We're not going to be doing a full show. But with that in mind, let's just chat for a few minutes and talk about what's new, what's on the horizon. So, Erica, what's new with you?
Well, I'm really excited. I'm working on a number of projects, like law-wise, for myself. I did a lot of study on how to do this. I did my own PMA for our family activities here on the property, and have been studying a lot on that difference between public versus private. And I just recently did the tax series that I posted in the chat. The Jaron Jackson did a 1 through 4 series for everyone. What a mind-blowing experience for me personally, because I jumped into the mindset of the colonists at the time when the Stamp Act came out. I mean, to have been under such tyranny, to just be standing in line constantly. You can't even make a private contract with your friend without getting it stamped first by one of they were called what was the word? Somebody help me here. They were like notaries. It started with a D.
Yeah.
But
I can't think what.
And then there were things in there like, and if you try to counterfeit the stamp or bypass the stamp, then it's automatic death. Like just the amount of tyranny. And then the people were just like, you know what? No. And everything that had been coming onto them from King George III, it was mounting and mounting and mounting until finally, like, we're being taxed for everything. We can't even defend ourselves in courts without paying for the stamp that we need to be able to get our papers filed to defend ourselves. We're being dragged across the country to be put to death without any kind of trial by jury. And so it started clicking for me that everything about the way that the Constitution was designed by the founders, you have to consider the historical context at the time. And I never really had fully grasped the amount of oppression, but then to draw the parallel that's how it is now. Like, we have the exact same complaints about these administrative courts, that like family court, tax court, traffic court, probate court, like all of these administrative, legislative, they're not judicial at all. And we're being dragged into them and then being pounded and having our stuff taken away from us and just going like, what just happened? And I checked in with my local county courthouse. They're doing the same thing. They're only do statutory cases. It's all administrative completely. There's no court of record. It's just a cash in, cash out, pay your ticket. Then they fund the county that way.
Yeah.
And so I've been working with a group where we write notices, and there was a guy that just put one out, and I can't wait to share it because you'll all be blown away by it. But it's providing them with what the law is and why it can't happen that way. So that will really be of help to everybody who's getting railroaded in these courts. So I've been working on that. I've been working on my own private family membership, because anyone in my family I'm laying the groundwork for any kind of battles that may come our way to say and put into the record, hey, we're in the private, and guess what? We never granted you any authority to write any legislation or regulate us or trespass or interfere in any way on what is private. And so I'm going on the record to say, this is private, this is private, this is private, this is private, even with stuff like property taxes, which is a usage tax for being in the commercial. We gave the government the permission to regulate commerce. Well, is just living in your house commerce?
No. And you're not wrong, Eric. I don't want to cut you off, but you're not wrong. I mean, Congress has taken that Congress shall have power to regulate commerce amongst the several states. They have taken that and just, man, opened Pandora's box and just whatever they can get their sticky fingers on and their hands in. And yeah, it's amazing when you look at everything that we deal with today and how similar, albeit, here we are doing a show over the internet. We have modern marvels of technology. We have all these things at our fingertips that the colonials didn't have, right? They didn't have mass sources of information. They didn't have, this little black box in their hand that they could get information from at their fingertips. But they still found a way to unite and to come together for a common goal.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. The Stamp Tax Act was one of those very. I mean, that led up to the Boston Tea Party, right? So get this crap out of here. We're going to throw it in the harbor.
It was full on rebellion at that point. It was like, no, we're not doing this anymore. And that's what we have the heart for here on this show, is to help open up the minds of as many people as possible, because the more of us that there are who know this stuff and can stand up for our rights, the more successful we'll be. But it doesn't have to be a bunch of us. Look at
and I just want to touch on your point real quick, because this is part of the reason why we decided to launch our association, which, yes, I know everybody's going to ask us, when is it coming? When is it coming? We are working tirelessly on this. These two fantastic women here are doing 90% of what the site entails. I'm trying to help out as best as I can when I have time. We can't wait. So really what it's going to come down to, and I just want to touch on some things that I've been going through this week. So this coming next week, I'm going to be starting a program from, I would call them like-minded brothers and sisters across the pond in the UK. I showed you guys this information, and I'm going to see what it's all about, see if it's legit, see if it actually works. I mean, they claim it does, and basically what it is it's separating your public person and your private person, and learning how to control the public person through the private person, if that makes sense. So like what Erica is touching on, right, with the private family association, the PFA, is that what we're calling that, PFA? And then the private membership association. I mean, because you're absolutely right. If you know how to protect your assets, protect your property, and you shelter it properly, there's not a court on this planet that can touch it.
Right.
That's the gospel truth. And that's because when we go back to the law acronym, land, air, water, of those three, air is the highest form of jurisdiction because it can't be touched. Land can be touched. Water can be touched and felt. Air cannot be touched. That's why trust law sits at the highest form of the jurisdiction. So I'm really excited for what I'm going to be going through, because again, I would never ask anybody to do anything that I haven't been willing to do myself. So that's part of what we're going to be doing, is we want to be able to educate as many people as possible, to teach you how to do, and believe me, I am no fan of the Rockefellers at all, or the Rothschilds by any means. But there was one quote that they said that makes absolutely sense. Own nothing, control everything. And that's the truth. You're on mute, Justice.
Well, and then think of how much more fearless it makes you too to stand up against injustices when what are you going to take from me?
Exactly.
I don't own anything.
I've got nothing. Nothing is being held in the name of my public person, which is what they want you to, this is what they all want to convince you that you are. This is why anytime you go into one of these traffic courts or these administrative courts or these probate courts or these family courts, why do you think the state wants you to get a marriage license? What do I need a license for? A license is permission to do something that would otherwise be illegal. Since when did it become illegal to marry my best friend? When did that become illegal? And gosh, listen, you guys, I don't care. You want to men marry men, women marry women. I don't care. If that's what floats your boat, then by all means, that's fine. Just don't shove it down my throat. That's where I'm at. For me, it's live and let live. You do you, I'll do me. Let me live my life the way I see fit, and I'll let you live the life you want to.
Well, it says what God, has declared, no man has authority over another.
Exactly.
So when they do these things, it's like the first thing I think of is like, on whose authority? Because you're wearing a fictitious uniform that some other guy gave you. It's like
they're wearing a hat, an invisible hat that has a title, or they're wearing a black robe.
Right.
So
or a badge.
She's got a great question here that I'll read out for those who are maybe listening on podcast. What would be your status when you come into an issue at law equity into the public before a court, and what would qualify for you to hold that status? So again, these are the things that we're going to be really diving into and getting good answers to. Honestly, Alexandra, I don't have a great answer for your question right today, because right today, anytime you step into court, it's your public person. And anytime you try to do anything to separate the two, you're labeled a sovereign citizen, you're labeled as a terrorist, and you're thrown to the wolves. Yeah. So even though the sovereign citizen is an oxymoron, you can't be sovereign and a citizen with a capital C. Okay, that's just not how it works.
And it speaks about it in our freedom documents, sovereignty. Exactly. So, they want to turn it around.
I think that this is that what Alexandra is asking is part of the bigger conversation too, of just like knowing who you are as one of the people. We are the sovereigns here in America. We are the ones where the power, it comes from us. And if these guys want to deprive us of our life or liberty or our property, and in these cases of, these like tax courts and traffic courts, they want to take your money. That's your property. Mm-hmm. If they want to do that, then they have to go according to what is written in the law, which is the constitutions, no matter what kind of public craziness they've come up with to trick us all. And I think that's why the move lately to that Trump at the federal level just yesterday is wiping out all of those administrative law courts. Mm-hmm. This is what they are: the traffic courts, the family courts, the probate courts, the tax courts. Those are all considered unconstitutional because they are depriving the people of their life, liberties, their properties without the due process of law, the constitutionally protected. So I don't know how much we have to go to all of these, crazy extents to try to prove this and this and this. Can't we just state the law that's already written? I'm starting to see that the nation it's coming back to that. It's like returning to this idea. Yeah, this was just yesterday. Yeah.
I'm trying to blow this up a little bit so we can actually read it.
There you go.
Is that decent there?
Yeah, that looks good.
Better. Maybe go one more. All right. So this was posted yesterday, and we found this in some Telegram chats. We posted this in our chat as well. This was a memo that was sent to Chuck Grassley, who is the president pro tempore of the United States Senate. And this was sent by Sarah M. Harris, who's the acting Solicitor General. And the interesting thing about this is what this letter is in reference to. Says right here, multi-layer restrictions on the removal of administrative law judges. here's what I find is fascinating. I'm not going to read the entire letter. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I will, because it's not very long. Sarah says this to Senator Grassley. She says, pursuant to 28 United States Code 530D, I am writing to advise you that the Department of Justice has concluded that the multiple layers of removal restrictions for administrative law judges in 5 United States Code 1202D and 7521A violate the Constitution, that the department will no longer defend them in court, and that the department has taken that position in ongoing litigation. Then she cites this case here in Free Enterprise Fund v. PCAOB. The Supreme Court determined that granting multi-layer protection from removal to executive officers is contrary to Article 2's vesting of the executive power in the president. The president may not be restricted in his ability to remove a principal or an executive officer, who is in turn restricted in his ability to remove an inferior officer. So what does this mean, you guys? What are they doing?
They're saying that it was unconstitutional for them to put all these statutory protections in, because it used to be, it was really hard to fire one of these guys, because there was like, you had to wait 30 days, you had to have a notice, you had to have 30 days for this, you had to have, this whole list of things you had to go through to be able to get rid of someone. And now they're just saying, yeah, about all that, it's in conflict with this. And another interesting note to point out, whenever you're talking statutes, 28 USC 530D, right? Mm-hmm. Those are for government workers who are meant to serve the people. And these are the restrictions on them. They're not for the people. I just wanted to make sure to point that out for the 1000th time. But this is a rule for them. And that's what it's saying. It's saying this is the people's business. We're in violation of the fundamental law listed in the constitutions. So the way that you've been doing it, we're not going to do that anymore. And we can fire the president has the ability to fire them.
See, this is what has happened. And ever since we've been alive, and this has been going on for a lot longer than we've all been alive, we have all been led to believe that our public person, the commercial, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't like using the term the straw man. We've all heard the straw man. I don't like using that term at all. I feel like it's got a negative connotation to it. But we have all been led to believe that because we do certain things, that the government can tell us what to do with our lives. See, they're mixing, what they're doing is they're mixing the authority that they have to regulate commerce with the authority they don't have, which is to tell us what to do in our private lives. They're mixing those two together, and they're doing a dang good job of convincing the American public that they can do that. And because we don't know any better, because we don't know how to object, because we don't know how to stand on our principles, which we're all learning and we're trying to overcome, we go along with it. I don't remember who it was that said this, but I think it was someone under Reagan's administration who said something like 80% of the federal prisoners in federal prison are there voluntarily. I mean, that's asinine. Do you really think people would voluntarily go to prison if they thought they didn't have to? And this is what we're talking about. Yeah, diesel for we the people, the 14th Amendment, United States citizen, subject to federal law. This is where, again, we get all of these things confused. We did a show on who the 14th Amendment actually applied to. And I'm sure, like I said, Congress had the best of intent. Well, I don't know. Maybe they don't. I digress. These days, Congress doesn't have the best of any intentions. But back then, maybe they did. Maybe they were just trying to help the recently freed slaves achieve some form of citizenship with the same rights and privileges and immunities that everybody else enjoys. However, it's been twisted, it's been turned, and we know why, and we know by who. This has been the problem. So the next company, 4 weeks in, are we even 4 weeks into Trump's presidency now? 4 weeks in, and they've already turned things upside down on their heads. I mean, we've seen so many things of corruption. And see, here's the thing is where people get frustrated and angry. How is it my government is doing this? How is it my government is doing this? You guys, you need to separate the fact This is not a government. This is a corporation. This is a for-profit business. They're doing these things because it makes them money somewhere, somehow, some way. This is why the Biden administration sent billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, but when the governor of Ohio came knocking, they said, you can keep on walking.
Yep, it's racketeering.
That's exactly where it is. So,
well, wouldn't we have to get them to confess that? I mean, because anytime you grant power, the people granted power to the federal government, the state governments through our state constitutions, we had to create some sort of an entity that we could grant the power to, right? Mm-hmm. So if we call it a corporation, whatever, yeah. But if we're saying there's rules you have to follow or you don't have any authority, we didn't grant some foreign corporation to do this stuff, but they haven't confessed to being a foreign corporation, right? So we have to assume that they are the lawful entity that the people granted power to. And our problem has been that we've just been totally not paying attention to them at all. And they're just getting away with all kinds of crazy stuff. And then when they come after us, then we also don't know our rights. So we're just like, oh, okay, I have to do that. I have to pay that. Or I'm going to go to jail. Okay, I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah. Well, the Communist Manifesto lays it out beautifully. I mean, everything you're seeing has been done before.
That's what I'm saying. History, if we learn nothing from history, but that it repeats itself, it does. It repeats itself. And if we aren't smart enough to realize what happened back then is happening now, and if we don't stop it, this is the same thing's going to happen. It's just a cycle. It's a never-ending cycle, and this is just part of the human psyche, the human nature, because we are all flawed creatures, and that's just the way it is. We are all flawed creatures, and that's the struggle that we deal with. And that's the day-to-day. So,
and for me, it's not enough to just recognize the problem. That's what all these podcasts do. That's what all these shows on Fox, they get people really angry. They throw out all the problems. No one offers solutions. That's why I really, really love the people in this group. These are people who want to take action. They're actively learning and seeking to try to figure out what is the answer so that I can figure out the remedy.
Yeah.
And one thing that I keep going back to is just like, there's already laws in place that we can just hold to their faces and be like, okay, where did we grant you the power to do this? Could you please show us? If you don't have it, then you can't have it. And you need to go sit down and leave me alone.
Yeah. I want to touch on this question here, and then I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Like I said, we apologize for those who jumped on expecting to see our guest, Brent Johnson. We had some scheduling conflicts. He apologized profusely, and we are going to schedule another show with him in the near future. But Alexandra brings up a really good question. She says, is the only proof that the U.S. is a for-profit corporation is the fact that they have a DUNS number and the one definition United States Code? Is there more hard evidence that we can use in court to prove it? So I'm just going to tell you, Alexandra, if you're trying to utilize these tactics in court, it's a losing proposition. So I wouldn't look at going at it that particular way. Some of the things that I'm going to be testing out this week, some of the other things that we're going to be talking about soon are real world, real live examples. And by the way, for those who are listening, I believe that was you, Erica, that just shared that, right? Or no, Justice did.
I did.
Justice just shared a document, United States Bankruptcy Court in the United States Corporation Company that's bankrupt. So the reality is that the United States Corporation has been bankrupt since 1933, and probably even before that as well. And the reason and the proof for all of that is, we talked about this in a couple episodes ago with Kirk Pendergrass and with our currency, with our money. We don't have lawful tender. We don't have lawful money. We have legal tender. We have legal money. There's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Legal tender is not lawful tender, and it's a piece of paper. Like I said, I don't know how much this piece of paper costs, but I could print a $100,000 bill on this piece of paper, and I can print a $2 bill on this piece of paper, and my cost to do so would be exactly the same. But then how do they have different value? This is what we're talking about. They don't. It's just that we have been what's the word? Not brainwashed, but maybe brainwashed. I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, we've been misled.
There you go. Misled.
Skillfully and purposefully.
Yeah, we've all been misled to believe that that's money, and that's what makes the world go round. And so some of the things that I'm going to be going through this upcoming week, indoctrinated, Kevin. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for, indoctrinated. So some of the things I'm going to be going through this week are remedies. What can we do to rectify our situation? How can we get out of this debt slavery system? You guys are fooling yourselves if you believe that the 13th Amendment abolished slavery. It did. Physical slavery. But I'm here to tell you, boy, financial slavery is at an all-time high. And more people get sucked into it, and they believe that there's nothing else that they can do. And there is remedy for that. It's very difficult to find. I mean, gosh, the three of us have been doing this show for now almost 2.5 years. And we have been researching, and I constantly research things. I go down one rabbit hole to another. Not to get off on a sidetrack, my niece is a events coordinator at the local Chick-fil-A, and they had this local book club that put on a tea party with Alice in Wonderland characters. It's pretty funny. So that's where I'm getting my rabbit hole thing from. Anyway, so as we're looking at all these different remedies or alleged remedies, some of them work, some of them don't. Some of them work some of the time, but they don't work all of the time. And that's the frustration I think we have. I talked a couple of shows ago about negotiable instruments, bills of exchange, drafts, things of that nature. Well, sometimes those things work and sometimes they don't. If you're like me, you're sick and tired of it. You just want to live your life. And this is why we decided to launch the website. This is why it's taken a lot longer than what we wanted it to, because we're also looking at forming an alliance with like-minded people who are doing the same things that we're doing, trying to help their fellow brothers and sisters get out of the rat race, step out of the matrix, whatever you want to call it. So with that, I'm gonna allow you guys to add in some closing thoughts, and then I think we'll wrap it up for today.
I just love you guys. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that, because we're such nerds, you guys. There's so few of us who spend every waking possible second doing something to gain more knowledge so that we can stand in this world. I don't know about you guys, but people in my own family they don't get it. Like my children, they all hear me. Sometimes it's just like, oh, there goes mom again. She's talking about all her stuff, but they hear it, they get it, they're putting it into their spirits. Yeah. And I'm thankful for that. But and I'm thankful for a partner who doesn't think we're on the same page, and I know a lot of you guys out there have partners who they're not on the same page with you. And so I am sending encouragement to you guys too, to keep standing strong. This is going to be a battle for the rest of our lives to keep our freedoms. There's always going to be people who are trying to take it from us. And so the more we can build our skills to stand for our freedom, and it induces like a fearlessness. You don't want to mess with people who have nothing to lose and who are fearless.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be one of those people. And I'm just really glad that I know so many more of you. Like I've got some great friends in this group that keep sending me encouragements too. And different things would be really great to read or go over. So you guys are awesome. Don't quit. Don't quit. Keep it up.
Awesome. Justice, what about you? What are your parting thoughts?
I've been fighting the battle of them trying to steal our health for 40 years. And, God's always just made me aware of the fact that food's in bed with pharma, that medical, and it's one big circle. I'm like, I don't know if it's true, but that's what I see. And so I'm glad I've got the strength over the years that's prepared me for that. I've just had an understanding our food system was just evil as I watched it get worse and worse. So right now I'm like doing the dance of joy going, I can't believe I'm living through this time watching these, organizations fold. And then now I believe in my heart that President Trump's order and all of his lawfare was exposing how bad our judicial systems are nationwide. And I do believe in my heart that it's all going to get rectified, and we pray we have we're here to see it and it's not in our children's lifetime, but I do believe it's going to be rectified. And the same thing, hold on tight. Nothing is impossible,
Yeah.
Stay the course, stay together with the new tribe that you found. We all found a new tribe, which is the coolest thing, people with like minds. And I love that. So I love you guys too.
Oh, we love you guys too.
And I'm going to post, there's something interesting I saw the other day. It popped into my head when you were talking about straw man. Have you ever seen the breakdown of the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, you just posted that. You just sent that text. I honestly haven't taken the time to watch that. It would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Now, you can spin anything into your own narrative if you're creative.
Of course.
But it was interesting. I watched it the other day and I was like, because this thing that they literally tell us everything they're going to do or have to do. And they put it out, whether it's art, movies, fiction, books, but it's all like the news is the fiction and Hollywood is the documentaries, right? So that's how it seems in our world. Yeah. But I'll put it in the Telegram chat. And
Rick says to look up on the SGT report on that one. They did a super in-depth conversation on it, and it's amazing. So.
Oh, what, Rick? The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, the Wizard of Oz. So go over to Rumble and search for the SGT report, and you should be able to find SG's or Sean's. Excuse me, Sean from the SGT report. Find his
Rick,
show.
if you know which one it is, would you post it in the chat for us? Because he has so many videos. He posts.
Rick posted in our Telegram chat. That'd be the best place. So
that'd be great because it's
all right, you guys. Well, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. And again, apologize we weren't able to do a full-length show today, but at least we had got the chance to have a conversation, share what's on our minds. I am extremely grateful for these two beautiful women who have decided to jump on my crazy clown show every week, and they're always there to help. I'm grateful for my better half, my best friend, my wife, who stands by me through thick and thin. And I'm grateful for everybody, all of you, everybody who comes together, who helps one another. I'm also, I think the thing I'm most grateful for is the future. The future is bright. I've never been one to care much about what somebody in Washington, D.C. does. I've never really been. I was like, listen, this is me. I don't see how that affects me personally.
Right.
However, I'm seeing a lot of things that are moving that way, which is good. But I'm really excited for the future. When I say the future, I mean the near future, in the next couple of weeks, for the things that we are working on together as a team, for the things that I am working on personally that I can share with everybody else, for how we can all learn how to live that abundant life that we're all looking to live, and how we can have the things that we all want to have to be happy. And that's really all we want to do. It's really all it's about.
That's really all government was created to do, was to protect our ability to do that.
And again, we've talked about this before. See, we don't have a government in the sense of a government where it serves we the people. We have a corporation that's designed to make money, which is what we see. And it's not just at the federal, it's all the way down to your little teeny tiny little municipality that has codes and ordinances and regulations designed to generate revenue. So
I want to say one more quick thing, that
go ahead.
They distract us with everything of material and academic and intellectual matter, but it's so important to stay close to your spirit, because they really want to pull us away from our spirit and away from how God talks to us and our intuition. Yeah. So just remember, just stay close to God, stay close to listening to what, the inside voice is telling you. It's just, and you get, in my opinion, in my life, that has never failed me. So,
yeah. Well, it's like Jiminy Cricket says, right? Always let your conscience be your guide.
Mm-hmm.
back before Disney was perverted. Anyway, and on that, you guys, thank you so much for those of you who joined us. We will hopefully get Brent rescheduled soon, and maybe this time next week we will be having a show with Brent. But we will keep you all posted. Keep a close eye in the Telegram chat. And then, yeah, we're going to be busy working away on our website, and hopefully we'll have the membership ready to go in the next week, 2 weeks. Cross your fingers.
James, don't run away when we end the show. I want to chat with you for a sec.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Okay.
See you, everybody.
So yeah.